For coming out tonight. We're going to start tonight with Coach Acor, discuss a little bit about the junior varsity season. Once we'll move into the varsity team, give out some awards, certificates, varsity letters, and all that kind of stuff. So, again, enjoy yourself. Please eat, drink, and I will turn it over to Coach.
Hope everybody got enough to eat. I'll apologize to the people in the front row. I don't like using a microphone, and I walk around a lot, so if it's too loud, I have some earplugs maybe somewhere. So first off, JV, our season this year is my second year coaching, and we ended up doing better than we did last year. I was pleasantly surprised at how we did, and that's not a jab at anybody from last year at all. Blake, don't take it that way. It's all about stats. We played 14 games this year. Last year we only played 12. Okay, so we have 2 more games, so there's some different numbers. But simply put, we took 130 shots on goal this year for JV, but we only scored 19, so we need to work on that a little bit. That's funny. Yeah, we need to work on that accuracy. Mikey, I'm not going to go into your numbers yet. Well, no, I know. So, like I said, 130 shots on goal. Now, let's compare that to we had 130 shots taken on us as well. However, out of those 130 shots, we ended up saving 101, so we had 29 points scored against us this year. So 101 saves on 130 shots, it's not bad. That's not bad. And the biggest benefit of that, and I'll go into it as I'm talking to everybody, is our defense. Defense this year killed it. We were able to keep the ball out and far away from the net, giving guys less of an opportunity to shoot meaningful shots that were high accuracy. That led directly to the number of saves we had compared between the 2 goalies. So it turned out to be a good season. We ended up overall, our record was 3-7-4. 3 wins, 7 losses, and 4 ties. In the last 7 games of the season, we only lost 2 of those 7 games. Start of the season, we started out 2-5. We ended the season 1-2-4, which also included 1 tie against Fitch, which was something I wanted to come back for. The game should have been a win, just saying, but it's a long story. It was a referee thing. So, that being said, let's see. In the end of the season, the last 7 games, the last stat I'm going to throw out there for the team. Beginning of the season, we had a negative 10 goal differential. End of the season, the second half, the last 7 games, we had a 0 goal differential. Okay, so we ended up ending up the season. We scored 19, we had 29 scored against, so we were minus 10 for the season. But second half was definitely a huge turnaround from first half. That goes out to defensive guys working hard, keeping that ball out. Offensive guys getting some stuff going, and learning the things that we worked on in practice. We had to work on things continually, and we took those things, we got better, and it shows through the whole season. So that's a testament to how hard you guys worked in each one of those practices. So, and the other big thing too is something to bring up. This year we only had half of our team was freshmen. So we had 7, 8. We ended up with 8 freshmen total on the JV team, and then the other 8 players, we had 16 total, were sophomore and junior. which was a larger balance of freshmen than we had last season. So more junior team. and we were still able to work through some of those issues on the field and get some offense going. And we also, with all of that, we ended up having a larger number of players score this season. We had 9 people total that were able to put a goal in, as compared to 7 last season. So we had a fewer number of people, more people were scoring, and we had more opportunity for offense. So it worked out really well. So I didn't put any of this in any particular order other than going from juniors to freshmen and then alphabetical order. So nothing special on who comes up first and who comes up last. Just the way it ended up working out. So we'll start off with Mike Epperson. Come on up, sit right here. All right, so real quick, man, Mike had a rough start this season. Mike showed up to, as everybody did, showed up to tryouts, got to day 3 of the tryouts, and he was a little concussed. And it wasn't even from playing, it was just we were running the drill, ran into the net, and got met with the ball. So, so Mike was out for the first, I think Mike was out for the first 3 games. When Mike came back, we had to go through some concussion protocol. It happens. Other people know about that. And I ended up throwing Mike right into the mix, threw him in as right forward and right midfield. Pretty much used him up on offense almost routinely the whole season. Mikey ended up finishing the season with 10 shots on goal, 2 goals and 2 assists. Jumping in and missing 3 games, I mean, that honestly could have been higher, even higher numbers. But it was great work, but got to protect that head. Okay, next person's not here, so I'll give it real quick. Is Eric Stein. Eric was one of our key defenders this season. Eric last season played right outside defender for me. This season, I needed somebody to move into center because we moved a couple guys up to varsity that were at that key position. Eric moved to center defender, and I didn't need to tell him anything else. Like from there, he had the speed, he had the sense to recover on the ball. And just another quick stat. Defensively, or as a team, we ended up with 78 offsides calls on the other team. Yes, defense pressed in 14 games. We ended up with 78 offsides calls. Indirect kicks for each one of those, obviously. And that was a key to how the defense played together and where those guys were able to play. Now, a lot of that had to do with how fast Eric was. I don't think anybody on the team's faster. Whatever it is. I'll put money on Eric anyway. Short distance. But Eric killed it. Eric doesn't have a whole lot of stats other than he had, and I wanted to point this out, Eric's never played goalie, never thought about playing goalie, but ended up with 2 giant saves during the season. One in particular, keeper came out, went to attack the ball, person got around him. Eric was able to sprint past, recover, and basically slide tackle through and put the ball outside to save one point. He did that twice. There was another, I can't remember exactly what the other one was, and the third one, which didn't really go for a save, kind of got called for a handball, but he chested the ball across, kind of caught his arm, but it is what it is. So Eric was instrumental in the back, one of the 4. Okay, so next person, Ben Town. Okay, so like Mike, I just talked about, Ben filled a bunch of roles on the left side for left mid and left forward. So Mikey and Ben were pretty much tag team left and right outside mids or left and right forwards at times. Got Ben in a bunch of times as attacking mid and was able to basically play pretty much anywhere I needed him on the attacking side, which was incredibly useful and versatile. Ben was 1/3 of my main offense. I have 3 players that were basically the top scorers. Ben was one of those 3. Now, Ben ended up finishing the season with 11 shots on goal, 3 goals, and 1 assist. And overall, just killed it with wherever he could be. He did what I needed him to do, so great job. Good work. All right, so that's, small as that number may be, that was my group of juniors. Okay, so moving on to freshmen, or sorry, sophomores. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip you guys. So, Matt, come on up. Matt Borgo. All right, so between the 4 defenders that we started out with, Matt and Eric were pretty much the 2 that led the defense. They played defense for me last season, left and right outside defenders. And this season, I called on Eric to move inside, Eric Stein moved inside, and Matt, in a couple times, played inside defender. He also played outside. He was on the right. Left side defender, strong side offense. I can't talk enough about how the defense worked together this year. And I know as guys move up and move on, I'm going to miss it. It's going to be hard to fill some of those gaps. Eric, Matt, and everybody. Defense, everybody was able to work together. Communication got better and better through the whole season. And it got to a point where, as a ball would come down, let's say the outside, instantly, first defender's on the ball, second defender's recovering, third defender is shifting over. Almost nobody had to say anything, it just happened. And that's where you want your defense to be. You want them to be able to recognize what players are doing, know where they're going to go, and go where you think you need to be. And it just flowed. So the second half of the season is basically why we ended up having a better record and working better together. Just came from work and play and practice. Now, unfortunately, Matt didn't get up front. And I don't even think I have. Yeah. Matt, unfortunately, didn't end up getting any shots on goal. But that's okay. You know, I got 1 or 2. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I missed them. Maybe I was looking at the scoreboard. But the biggest thing where Matt helped us, like I said, was on defense. Those 130 shots on goal, yes, that the other team had against us, pretty much every one of those were, or at least half of those, were outside the 18. They were long distance shots, lower percentage shots. And all of those were because the defense was able to keep the other team out, and that 78 offsides calls, defense was pressing up high, keeping everybody away. Okay, so that was key in working us towards our record this year. So great work, good job. Thanks. Eli. So, reluctantly, Eli filled in as my backup goalie. I know last year, end of the season, and beginning of the season this year, he's like, no, coach, I'm not playing goalie. I'm like, oh yeah, you are. At some point in time, you're going to be in. So, Eli was able to fill in. Eli played 3 half games in the net, and I think we swapped around a couple other times. Ended up coming away with, where is it? 9 saves and 2 goals against. It's not bad in 3 half games. It's pretty good. However, the biggest key point for Eli was his offensive defensive play. So in 7 games, Eli came away with 15 shots on goal, 1 goal, and 1 assist. 7 games. 3 half games, he was in the net, so obviously those don't count. And the rest of those games that we played, Eli ended up taking up a spot in our back line. like I said, I keep comparing first half, second half of the season. So second half of the season, we had our team dynamic changed a little bit. We had a couple players be injured. We had a couple players moving up to varsity. So there's some games where we didn't have everybody there. I ended up moving Eli from an offensive position where he was doing great, putting shots on goal, being where he needed to be, striker and outside midfielder. And he took up a position as the left center defender. With Eric and Eli, both in those center defensive positions, I almost didn't have to worry about a ball getting by. Eric was chasing balls down. Eli was able to defend up high. And we had a great back four between Eli, Matt, Eric, and the last person I'll get to when I get to him is Trevor. Okay, so that back four, I can't say enough about you guys. And that was directly, how do I want to say it? Watching a couple of those games, Coach Glenny came up to me and said, "Hey, how's Eli doing back there?" And I was like, honestly, I didn't have him pegged for a defensive guy as much. He likes to play up top, which he does, right? It's all the glory, right? But he instantly found a niche for himself in the back, and it was incredible. Great hard work, nice defending, keeping the ball outside. And, you know, as you saw, pulled up to a couple games, see where you're at, right? So, great job. Appreciate it. Next guy is not here, Sawyer Hendricks. Sawyer is another one. Sawyer is another one of those guys like Ben and Mikey. Sawyer was one of my go-to outside mids and strikers. I put Sawyer in a couple spots where I had him play defending mid. He never really played it before, but he caught on. He caught on pretty quickly, and it helped him in his game pretty much everywhere else. So Sawyer ended up coming away with, let's see, 14 shots on goal and an assist. And just did some nice solid work on the outside. So, good job, Sawyer. Trevor. Trevor. Let's go. I still don't understand why Kevin, but.
Tell me, you're telling me he looks like a Trevor.
That's a whole Kevin.
His name is Kevin.
Okay, so there you go.
Kevin.
So Kevin. So Trevor was my fourth of my defensive back four. I'm going to end up calling you Kevin like 3 times now. So it's funny, like I was talking about Matt, where he probably didn't get up top very much, but somehow Trevor was able to get 2 shots on goal and 2 assists. But funny enough, those 2 shots on goal and 2 assists were when he was actually supposed to be in the defensive line. So we'll have to talk about that later. However, the two assists he had were from a defensive position, right where he needed to be. Got a great clearance on the ball, put it right up to our striker. Striker was able to bring the ball down and put it right in. It was like clockwork. It just looked beautiful. So it was a couple great plays, great heads-up work. But I'll tell you what, Trevor, last season, I kind of had Trevor pretty much everywhere. Little midfield, little striker, little defense. And what did you say to me last year? Coach, I don't know. So, I'm not good at defense. Well, okay, I think that's where I'm going to use you. Well, this season, I put him in on defense, and that's where he stayed. Perfect. Started every single game as my right side defender. I didn't have any complaints, didn't have any problems. You worked hard, and you earned it. So good job. And the last sophomore, who's again not here, Reese Yaris. So Reese ended up being a striker for the most part, filled in at some midfield positions also. Reese ended up with 2 shots on goal, 1 goal, and 2 assists. And the 1 goal, it was amazing because it was like the first time I'd seen Reese be in the right spot at exactly the right time, and ended up getting the first touch perfectly from pass from Nate. So everything, like the stars aligned, and it was perfect. And then he was Reese the rest of the time. So, so those of you who've seen Reese, he's kind of a little everywhere, right? His body's kind of all over, arms are up, feet are out, kind of going all over. But I will admit, anytime I needed him to do something, he went in and did it. Reese, midfield, got it. Striker. There was even a couple times I put him in on defense. He was like, okay, you want me to? But he was able to do anything I asked him to, which was incredibly useful because sometimes you look at the bench and you're like, who do I put in where? Okay, you here. And Reese was able to do that, so good job, Reese. All right. So that's the sophomores. All right, so that's half the team. Freshmen. Like I said, we had a larger percentage of freshmen this year than we did last year. There's really only 1 more freshman this year than we had last year. But when you looked at the team makeup, we had more juniors last year and a few more sophomores. So this year we were a little bottom heavy in teams. And all the teams we faced, we didn't face any freshman teams. Okay, so we faced everybody that we played against was a JV team. Some of them did have quite a few freshmen, but for the most part, the toughest games we played, East Lyme and Stonington and Fitch, they don't have a lot of freshmen on their JV teams. They have freshman teams, right? So the majority of those teams, when we play them and we get clobbered by them, well, half our team was a freshman group that you don't always get the same dynamic with them. So we'll start off with Aiden. Okay, so
that kid.
yeah, this guy. So Aiden's our starting keeper. Aiden finished the season with 90 saves, 27 goals against. Now, the interesting thing that I just brought up with East Lyme and Stonington, or East Lyme and Fitch, 4 games. 2 games against East Lyme, 2 games against Fitch. 47 shots on goal. Now, in those games, yes, East Lyme we lost 4-1 and 4-0, but only 4-0, 4-1. Fitch, 2-0 and a 1-1 tie. So 47 shots on goal and only 11 goals scored. The other interesting fact, I pulled Aiden out a couple games when Eli was in the net, and Aiden threw up top, and Aiden came away with the rest of his stats of 3 shots on goal and 1 goal, which pretty much was as soon as I subbed him back in, he went and scored. The other coach was like. So, as you can see, Aiden was a workhorse in the net this year, just like Blake was last year. The starting keeper is going to get a lot of shots. That's just what it is. The biggest thing that I want to point out is even with 130 shots on goal, our largest loss was only 4-0. We had 3 games that were, or 3 games that were 4-0. Sorry, 2 games 4-0, and 3 games were 4-1. Every other game was a 1 goal or 2 goal difference. Like I said, we tied 4, we won 3. So pretty much the entire season, every game that we were in it. It wasn't like we were just getting clobbered each time. Every game, East Lyme, East Lyme, Bacon Academy, Stonington, we're all 4-0, 4-1 games. Each one of those games, they only scored 1 goal in the second half. They had 3 in the first, we had 1, so it was 3-1. 2 goals, you're in the game. It's not that hard to get out from under that. They scored 1 in the second half. It is what it is. But even with huge numbers of shots against, he was still in the game. defense, everybody on the team, huge shots against, we were still in the game. We were still making it competitive. We weren't getting blown out at all. And yeah, that just goes to show the hard work everybody put in to help out for the whole season. So good job. Almost done. Okay, so Lucas this season primarily worked for me as striker. He got some shots in at outside midfielder as well. He ended up with 9 shots on goal and 1 goal. No assists, but you know, it is what it is. As with pretty much every freshman here, and I didn't really start it off this way or mention it, but I'll mention it here. All the freshmen here I've coached or have coached them at some point in time over the last 6-7 years. Okay, some have been even longer than that. Obviously, Aiden, I've pretty much coached every season for like 8 years. But Lucas has been one of those guys I'm always there with. Now, what do I always end up telling him? Go to the ball, Lucas. Go to the ball. Well, this season it's finally paid off. So this year, Lucas got in on the game. He got in on those shots, got some off, got a couple goals, got a goal, and made a difference at the top. It wasn't like every time he backed off the ball or every time he was not where he needed to be or why are you over there, Lucas? I never had to say that. I've said it in the past, but not this year. So great work, great job working through. Would be tough. Mason. I know you're faster. Come on. All right, so Mason. So I started off when I talked about Ben. I said Ben was one of my 3 core offensive guys. Mason's one of those other 3. Mason this year was my leading scorer. Mason ended up with, where is it? Where are we going to find it? 24 shots on goal, 5 goals, 3 assists. Those are some pretty good numbers, especially as a freshman. Okay. What I didn't count up in all of these, and I'll point a couple people out, Nate, were the shots that were around the goal. So I'm just saying. Mason had a couple of those. Weren't as many as some. However, 24 shots on goal is nothing to sneeze at. Mason primarily played attacking mid for me. Every so often I threw him in another position, but I knew pretty much with all the seasons that I've coached, I knew where Mason would fit in, and I didn't really have to question where I needed to throw yet. Pretty much a utility player, able to get pretty much wherever I need him. You just got to work on keeping those arms down. Don't get those yellow cards. Oh, come on. Smile, man. All right. So Mason's work ethic every day. He was there. He was ready. He was ready to work hard. And he did the same thing translated on the field. Again, like I said, leading scorer for the team and one of those 3 that was there for all that offense. It's great work. Tyler, Howard. So, from my viewpoint, because I wasn't always in all the groups and where the practice was and seeing what was going on, I picked Tyler as the quiet one. Seems like it, right? It's not saying much. However, anytime I needed Tyler to do something, he was there ready to do it. Wherever I needed to put him, wherever I needed him to play. He was able to play pretty much all my outside positions, outside midfielders, up at striker, and he even threw back on defense once or twice. But the look in your eyes when I asked you to play defense was like,
Really?
Which is funny enough that Tyler only came away with 2 shots on goal, but ended up with 1 goal. And left-footed it by that. Which he has absolutely no left foot whatsoever, so that's the amazing part that you have to understand about it. Tyler always worked hard. He gave me everything he had in practice, he gave me everything he had in games, and you did everything that I ever asked you to. So great work and nice job on that lefty goal, man. Oh, and I'm sorry, Tyler, the last thing I didn't mention, out of all the guys on the team, I had 2 guys, Tyler was one of them, that showed the most improvement from the beginning of the season through to the end of the season. So that just goes to show how hard he worked and what he would work on through the season. All right, next, Eric, capture. Like I said for a couple of the other guys, I've coached these guys for a number of years. Eric being one of them. I think the first time I coached Eric was like U10, might have been U8. I don't remember. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Eric had a rough season this year, right, to say the least. He started off with, played the first game, did great. Hey, coach, my knee hurts. All right, we'll go get that checked out. Next thing I know, Eric's out for 3 games. Comes back, gets back in it, says he feels pretty good, working pretty hard. We get into a game against, a hard-fought game against St. Bernard, and Eric got on the unfortunate side of a meeting with a ball and was a little concussed. And for those of you who know, and I hope you don't mind me mentioning, Eric's had a number of concussions over the years, and I coached him, in 8th grade, right after he came back from one. And Eric has always been one of those guys that whatever you need me to do, coach, I'm there to do it. And it's been a pleasure. And for those of you who don't know, I've talked with Eric's parents and Eric himself, and Eric's probably not going to be playing soccer anymore, just because of the number of injuries. So it's rough, but every time you've recovered, every time you've gotten better, and every time you've met that challenge head on. And that's what I wrote.
Pun intended?
No pun intended. Benji. Good work. So, Benji, and like I've said already, again and again, I've coached a lot of these guys for a number of years, and Benji, again, is another one of those guys. Benji's always been a defender, always in the back. This year I missed Joe a little bit, man. So first couple games, threw Benji into the outside midfield position, a striker. And he kind of gave me that deer in the headlights look, like, Coach, why are you putting me up there? Like, I've never played up there. What are you doing? Trust me. Trust me. Wasn't a great decision, but I will tell you, you got better as a player. You got better as an individual. You got better as a ball handler. And you worked at it. Okay? Which is exactly what I wanted him to do. You can't be one-faceted. You can't play one position always, forever, because as you're going through soccer from U8 up through high school, you're going to have to get in different positions. You're going to get to a different club, you may get to a different school, and they may play you from striker to a midfield position, or they may move you from midfield to defense. All I can say is work at it. And this year, Benji did. Weren't able to get any shots on goal. That's okay. They'll come. But I will say that Benji gave me everything he had every time he was out there. And always, any time that I was like, hey, all right, so next time you go out there, make sure you do this, make sure you do this, or take that instruction. And that's exactly what Benji was able to do. All right, coach, I got you. I'll try it next time. And that's all I can ask for in any player. All right, home stretch, last two. Sorry it's taking so long. Nate. Okay, so I'm not going to make it short and sweet. It'll be for the most part. So Nate, like I said, I had 3 guys. Nate's that 3rd guy. He was that other guy that I had as my core offense. Nate was my 2nd highest scorer. Nate came away with 4 goals. Sorry, I got to get the shots on goal first. 19 shots on goal, 4 goals, and an assist. That assist was to Reese. That was amazing because I don't think I've ever seen Reese shoot. To be able to feed Reese so he could shoot the ball, excellent. So Nate had a really, really, really rough job this season. Nate, for the most part, the entire season filled in as my defending mid. Defending mid is not necessarily an easy position because not only are you playing offense, even though the name says defense, you're in a primary role as a defending player. You're there to help the defense out when they need it. However, you're also that first transition player. You're that guy that sets up the offensive play coming out the other end. And I think just about every game, Nate was my defending mid. There was a couple where I had to drop you back into center defense, a couple where I had you up as attacking mid. But regardless, to still play defending mid, helping out the defense in the back, and to end up with 19 shots on goal, right, and 4 goals, that says something about where you are in the field and how you get there. Keep working on that speed. Okay? I mean, the only other thing I could say is he was that anchor player for center midfield. Mason was my guy up top attacking. Nate was that guy that was in right behind him in that support role, right? Looking for that back pass, looking for those outside passes, making that other option as a center midfielder. So, great job. Keep the work up. Justin! Last but not least, only because of alphabetical order, that's all. That's all. So, I mentioned first with Tyler, Justin is my 2nd most improved player, right? There was 2 guys from the beginning of the season to the end of the season that were most improved. Justin, in other years, like I said, with everybody else, how long have I coached guys? U10, U12, a long time. And a weird note, Justin played keeper for me at U12. He was a starting guy, had Aiden out in the field because Aiden was the other keeper. Justin did not go in the box at all. Justin did not play defense, which is where he normally used to play every other position. Where did you play most of the time this year? Striker and midfield. Completely different usage. How many shots on goal do you think you came away with? 13 shots on goal. 13. For somebody who used to play keeper, defense, and never really went up top. Yes, last year, you played a little up top. We got you a couple goals in the club. But for the most part, that was a transition. That transition is what I was looking for. Improvement, ball control, handling, and being in the right place at the right time. Just got to get a little softer on those touches. Just saying. Just saying. And honestly, I'm going to say, and I hope you don't get upset about it, but I'm pretty sure that half of those 13 shots on goal were probably his first touch. Not actually. But like I said, from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, your touches got better. They did. They did. How many times did I tell you every single day? Lighter touch. 4 to 5. That I can remember. But it got better. And that's all I ask from anybody on the team, anybody on the entire squad. Get better. Start somewhere, practice, learn, apply yourself, get better. That is only going to help everybody in here, anywhere in life. Doesn't matter whether it's on a soccer field, whether it's in school, anywhere. Start somewhere, know where you are, get better, make progress. That's what I saw. So great work. Yeah, that's it. So, thanks for your attention and time in the last 4 minutes. Sorry. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Where's the coach? Where's the coach?
You got a Pepsi?
All right. I'm not using the microphone either. Can everybody hear me in the back? Good? Yeah? All right. So just going to start the varsity portion of the show with just some general highlights of our season. We finished 15-6 overall. For the first time since 2001, the Ledyard boys soccer team was in the state semifinals, which was, a pretty impressive feat for this team. As a 12 seed, it's one of the worst seeds that you can get. That means you've got to see the 5 seed, the 4 seed, and the 1 seed. For us to not only beat the 5 seed and then go on the road and beat the 4 seed, and gave the number 1 seed and number 1 team in the state at the time, I would say a pretty good run for their money. Showed that what this team was made of. Looking at our losses to start, we lost 3 times to Fitch. I believe in week 6, Fitch was ranked number 11 in the state for Class L and Double L. We lost to Stonington, who finished number 1 in the state. We lost to Ellington, who was number 3 in the state. And East Lyme game, we'll just kind of ignore that, because I think not one of that was our one game for the season that I think was just kind of, from start to finish, was just not there. We also had wins over Woodland, who ended up being the number 10 team in the state, and beat Wyndham twice, who was ranked in the top 10 throughout most of the season. Some highlights of the season, including that Wyndham's star player broke the Connecticut State scoring record that was, I believe, from like 1989, and shattered it. I think he finished his career with somewhere right around 150 goals for a 4-year span. He scored in every game this year, except 2. Did not score against us in either game, which is a testament to this team to go on the road and beat Wyndham twice on the road. Pretty impressive feat. A couple other things. I believe it's the first time since 2001 as well where this team beat NFA 2 times in a row. This sophomore class is undefeated against NFA, and for me, that is my 2nd and 3rd win over them in 19 years with this program. So, pretty cool by you guys. We had a beverage sponsorship this year, which was kind of cool. You don't see that very often. We had an emergency appendix. Nate Vidal, where are you? Oh, perfect. First time for that. We're at practice during the state tournament. I said, there he is. I said, hey, coach, where is Nate? Wasn't at practice, wasn't, it just surprised me, and come to find out, at the Wyndham game for the state tournament, wasn't feeling well. Lo and behold, had his appendix removed. And I believe the next day was asking mom and dad if he could go to practice and be on the bench with the team. So kudos to Nate for that. We had a substitute coach, Mr. Steve Billheimer, had to come and coach practice for a day as I was out of town. I believe Alex Warmus made it through the entire season with no cramps. Some pretty cool notes. Talk about Mr. Butecor's big on kids being involved with multiple sports. This team with the varsity guys has guys involved in not only multiple sports, but multiple activities. We got guys that are heavily involved with the band, with chorus, with drama, with robotics, with name any other sport in the building. We've got guys playing other sports. It's also pretty impressive in the fact that I check on their grades periodically throughout the season. And for the most part, the grades for all the guys on the varsity team were pretty darn good. I believe we had 5 seniors that were in the top 25 in their class, which, you know, to have 1 or 2 is impressive, but to have 5 seniors in the top 25, it's pretty impressive. Mom and Dad, I want to just thank you, and you guys give your mom and dad a round of applause. I have a great group of parents that are involved with this program. I've said it year in, I've said it year out. Parents, whether it's running the snack shack or being involved with our ALS game, which between the girls and the boys team donated over $1,500 to ALS. I just saw Matt Green, who's involved with that 2 nights ago, and again, couldn't stop talking about how happy he was with the donation that he got from Ledyard High School. Whether it's Mr. Warmus doing videos that you guys have every game of your season available to you to watch 20 years from now. You have no idea how lucky you have in the fact that you have access to that stuff. All of my games are just memories. I have a couple of pictures here and there, maybe some newspaper articles, but the fact that you guys, because of Mr. Warmus, can now go back and watch your games is awesome. Mrs. McLeod for taking roughly 1 million pictures. Again, the fact that you can roll through those and have those memories for yourselves for years and years to come is unbelievable. So again, Mom, Dad, thank you for all that you do. You've got a great group of young men that are involved with the soccer team, and talking to other coaches in the area and hearing some of the horror stories of some of the stuff that they have to deal with. It's pretty amazing that I get to go work with your sons on a daily basis, and it's truly a pleasure for me. I want to thank my dad, who meticulously kept stats all year and the book, and whether it was doing stats, supporting the team by buying a boatload of hammer gel, which the kids seem to thoroughly enjoy. So, Dad, thank you for all your help with everything. And for we also had snow practice, which was kind of cool. Like,
no snow games, though.
No snow games. But we had
only minus 19.
We had practice in the snow this year, which is the first time I've had snow practice since I was a player in high school. I don't think I've ever had it as a coach. So.
Won the ALS Cup.
Yes, the ALS Cup came back to Ledyard, which is nice. Some stats as well. We finished with 64 goals this year, which was just over 3 goals a game. One of my goals for this season was for us to average 3 goals a game. So I would consider that goal reached. We gave up 28 goals, which was just about 1 1/3 goals a game. And that's kind of skewed by the fact that we had, 2 games with 10 goals. Pretty impressive. Offensively, this team scored more goals than I've been involved with since 2012. You missed 2012's team by 1 goal. They had 65, you guys finished with 64. But again, impressive nonetheless. So, getting to the individual players, I'm going to start from the youngest up. Guys that earn their varsity letter, that don't have a varsity letter this year, will get their actual letter. Guys that already have a letter will get their soccer ball pin, and guys that already have the varsity letter in soccer get their bar. So that being said, I'll start. Freshmen, first one, we've got Ben Fieldson. Come on up, Ben. Ben finished the season with 5 goals and 3 assists. Ben did a great job coming in for us as a freshman and quickly being thrust into a position where he was going to play. Played quite a bit of time, pretty much name a spot in the midfield, played some time up front for us. Had some big goals, a big goal against Waterford that broke a scoreless tie. And will be heavily involved with this offense moving forward next year. Ben earned his varsity letter, so congratulations. Second freshman, Tyler LaPearl. Tyler's also getting his letter. Tyler, another freshman that was brought into the varsity program and again thrust into a position of, go, you're going to learn how to play, and same type as Ben, played time in the midfield, played some time up front for us, finished with 4 goals and 2 assists, had 2 big goals against Fitch in a game that kind of got away with us at the end, but had one of his best games. Had a little issue with his knee that kind of kept him out of a few games, but much like Ben, Tyler will be a big part of our offense moving forward next year. So, congratulations. All right, freshmen. Now, sophomores. Again, the same thing. I'm going up in alphabetical order. So, Damon Powell. David finished the season this year with 15 goals and 20 assists. The 20 assists broke a sophomore record. Official records haven't been kept, but I've been involved with Ledyard soccer for the most part since about 1992, and have friends of mine that were involved throughout the 80s. And for all the information that I was able to find, 20 assists for a sophomore, nobody has come close to that. So 20 assists, amazing. 15 goals on top of that, also extremely impressive for anybody, let alone somebody as a sophomore. So Damon is getting his bar as he was varsity letter winner last year. And again, Damon will be heavily involved with our offense moving forward next year too. Second sophomore, Cam Reynolds is currently over at Norwich Free Academy, hopefully beating the Wildcats with the basketball team. Cam was one of our starting central defenders, a big reason of why we were able to shut down teams like Wyndham, and outside of a couple of hiccup games, defensively we had really a much stronger year than I had anticipated. And Cam was a big reason of why we were able to do that. So, Cam Reynolds. Sophomore numero 3, Nicholas Washington. Nick finished the season with 23 goals and 8 assists. Nick's going to join Damon, also breaking the sophomore record. 23 goals as a sophomore, broke the record, which was 19, by Paulo Walters, who was an All-American as a senior at East Lyme. He was part of the 2001 team that won a state championship, and Nick certainly has the ability to do just those same things as he moves along in high school. Pleasure to coach. Again, part of our offense moving forward next year. We'll be tasked to hopefully make 23 into more than 33 next year. So, Nick Washington. No chicken nuggets. Moving along to our juniors. First junior is Joey Burden. Joey came, this was his first full year as a varsity member. Again, coming into the year, defensively, I didn't really have an idea of what we were going to do. We had graduated the core of our defense and had to figure things out as the season started, the season got going. Joey came in, did an absolutely fantastic job. One of his best games of the year was our first game against Wyndham, where I had him man mark their star player, and again, for the first time all year, he didn't score. A testament to Joey scored 2 goals this year as well from a defensive position. He scored 2 goals. That's impressive. And again, as a junior next year coming back, he and Cam will be tasked to be big leaders for us in the back. So that does it. Owen Leslie, he is not here tonight. Owen was in his second year with the varsity team. Played a little bit of outside back, some central defense for us as well. And as a senior next year, will find himself in a position where he's going to have to help the defense for next season as well. So, Owen. Our last junior, Blake McLeod. So we graduated Ken Turner, who was our starting goalkeeper for 2 years. And coming into the season, I met with Blake, I met with Aiden as really the 2 goalkeepers that were going to kind of compete for that position. Blake ended up winning that competition to start the year and kind of never looked back. You could tell that he put work in the offseason. I talked to some coaches that he had went to some camps with. They had told me that it's there. The improvement has been shown. The work ethic is there. He's one of the hardest workers that we have on the team. He's always coming up to me at halftime, at the end of games. What do I need to do? What can I do better? What did I do wrong? What did I do right? It's the type of attitude that helped lead this team. And coming back next year as a senior will be again part of our defense that he'll be heavily relied upon to help keep teams out of the net, and not only that, but be one of the leaders of the program next year. So, congratulations. All right, we get to our seniors. Senior number 1, Mason Barnett. So Mason was in his first full year as a varsity player. Spent most of his time playing as an outside mid. Played a little bit of defense as well. Kind of thought of him as like our enforcer because he likes to run people over.
Do I have to pull out the card?
Sometimes to a fault, but just one of those guys that goes out there and isn't intimidated by anything and gave 110%. And will be just the kind of guy, practice player, hard player, game player. Just everything about him was something that helped his team, and something that we'll miss next year. So. Our next senior is Noah Kayenge. Again, Noah was in his first full season as a varsity player. Came into the season, kind of saw him as being a defensive player, and then as the season kind of got going, gave him a few chances to play up front. Didn't have a goal this year, but did finish the season with 1 assist. Had an assist to, I believe it was Nick, on a nice goal. And again, one of those guys that works hard, always a positive attitude, and one of the seniors that I mentioned that's GPA is utterly fantastic, and vice president of the senior class. So another one of those just well-rounded guys that was certainly a pleasure to be around. So Noah. Senior Wesley Hughes. So Wesley is my final Hughes of, how long has it been?
2007.
So roughly 9 years I've had a Hughes that I've coached. Wes will be the last one of the Wesley, or the Hughes boys that I've had with the soccer program. Wes finished the season with 2 goals and 6 assists for us. Spent most of his time as an outside mid, going up and down the field. The stats don't show it, but the value that Wes brought to the field as somebody that I could put on the field and I knew was going to go out there and work and provide the team what he needed to provide for us to do well. He was a big part of why we won 15 games this year. And again, the stats might not show that. 2 goals, 6 assists. It's nothing off the wall. It's certainly good and certainly what we needed from him. But moving forward next year as an outside midfielder, it's one of the things that we're going to have to worry about replacing. So, congratulations, Wesley. Next senior's not here. He's also over at NFA playing basketball right now. Xander Hutchins. Xander was another Hutchins that I've coached. I had Trevor before him, and now Xander. Xander was one of the senior leaders of the team. He was one of the big reasons our defense had the success that it did. He used his size to his advantage. He was vocal on the field to help lead the defense, and was always kind of there to give a pick-me-up if things weren't going great. His just overall attitude and pretty much everything that he brought to the table will be something that we will miss. He did score a goal this year, so he can say that. So, Xander. Fabian May. So Fabian finished the season with 2 goals and an assist. And the second goal was a thing of beauty. Just an absolute bullet. I still remember telling him, I said, just put this on frame. And he hit a ball that just never really moved much more than just knuckling over the goalkeeper's head in the back of the net. So Fabian spent the first 3 years of high school as a forward, and this year sort of tasked him to kind of go back a little bit in our lineup and sort of be the front of our defense. Played roughly 95% as our central defender, a stopper, helping not only the defense but helping the midfield transition as well. Certainly didn't know that was going to be the case when we started the season. It just kind of transformed itself into that situation. And Fabian did an absolutely fantastic job. And it's something we'll need to figure out how to replace next year. So, congratulations. Ethan Mugger. Ethan was another part of the defense. Big reason why our defense was successful this year. Much like, as I mentioned with Mason, Ethan didn't really care and was going to go through somebody if that was the case. Sometimes to the fault. But again, you need those types of players on teams to at least let other teams know that they're not just going to be able to do whatever they want and not have to worry about it. To have physical play like that certainly helps with a lot of aspects of the game. Finished with 1 assist at New London, if I'm not mistaken.
Shame maybe got a yellow.
So this was his second full year with varsity, and again, our defense next year is going to be something that we're going to have to work on, as was a couple of key guys. Ethan is one of those. So congratulations. Tyler Perkins. Tyler approached me, I believe in the spring, and mentioned he wanted to come play soccer. Okay. When you have first-year seniors come out for a sport that they haven't played, sometimes it can be difficult. I didn't know what we were going to do with him. He had mentioned he wanted to play in goal. Claims he's Ronaldo. But I watched him play over the summertime and saw something that I thought would bring some value to the team. And that's why when he tried out, I was perfectly fine with keeping him. He added value to the team in practice. He added value to the team with just an overall, good attitude. And his skills on the field for somebody who hadn't really played much over the years was actually, quite good. From any number of standpoints, he didn't light up the stat board, but just having the type of personality on the team was something that just added value to this team and something that we'll definitely miss for next year. So, congratulations, Tyler. He did score a goal. Oh, yes, I did. Elliot Smith. Elliot, he finished the season with 1 goal and 3 assists. And a battle with mosquitoes. Elliot was sort of that we're going to have you all over the place kind of player. He played a little bit up front. He played a little bit in the back. He was on the field for almost every game, every minute, and was that kind of glue that we could use to fix what we needed fixed. Nothing flashy about Elliot. Does everything like he's supposed to do with a great attitude, and that versatility is something that, you know, we will need to replace for sure next year. Just, again, attitude, work ethic, and the ability to plug wherever we needed to plug him to help us win was a huge reason why we were able to make the semifinal and win 15 games this year. So, thank you, Ellie. You only missed one or two.
No.
Caesar Valiente Caesar's not here. Caesar was in his first full year with the soccer program. He was a four-year member of the team. First year with varsity, but did 4 years with the program. Played up front, and just the type of kid that just loved playing soccer. Was eager to play every day, and certainly did whatever was asked of him. Didn't say much, was kind of quiet, but just a great kind of kid to have around. So, Caesar. And last but not least, Alex Warmis, third transfer. So Alex was third on the team in goals, finished with 7 goals and 3 assists. He's earning his bar. Another kind of same type of thing with Wesley. I had 2 guys that were going to go out as outside midfielders, and we're going to go up and down the field, doing a lot of thankless running back and forth. 2 types of players that, moving forward next year as outside mids, we're going to have to figure out how to replace, because they both basically spent the last 2 years as our outside midfielders. Alex put in a ton of work in the off season. Came in this year as a senior, and just great shape, great attitude. Was one of our leaders this year, and his leadership and attitude and 7 goals, 3 assists, outside mid play, everything, bananas, the whole 9 yards, will certainly be missed for us next year. So congratulations, Alex. So now that we've got that, we've got a number of awards to go through. The first awards that I'm going to do were the awards that were voted upon by the players. So at the end of the year, we vote and they decide who wins these awards. They want to name the goalkeeper as their offensive player of the year. Our goalkeeper becomes our offensive player of the year. I leave it up to them to decide who wins these awards, and again, I'm fine with it. And I think they got all of these pretty spot on. So the first award this year goes to our Rookie of the Year. This award goes to the first person playing in their first full year as a varsity player. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a freshman. It's just somebody playing in their first full year as a varsity soccer player. So this year's Rookie of the Year goes to Tyler LaPerma.
Come on, on delay.
Next award is the Teammate of the Year award. This one kind of was kind of obvious to me. Voting was close to unanimous, and the 2019 Boys Soccer Teammate of the Year award goes to Xander Hutchins. Defensive Player of the Year. Fairly straightforward. I don't really need to explain much more. The Defensive Player of the Year for this year goes to Cam Reynolds. On the other side side of the ball, the Offensive Player of the Year. Again, fairly straightforward, no need to explain. This year's Offensive Player of the Year goes to Damon Pollard.
No hugging.
And the Most Valuable Player Award, again, fairly straightforward, no need to explain. This year's Most Valuable Player goes to Nick Washington. All right, so we have a number of other awards that I'll explain as we go through them. The first one is the Ledyard High School Booster Club Award. This is given to a senior that excels on the field, but also in academics, leadership, and performance. This year's award winner goes to Wesley Hughes. The next award is our Colonel Hustle Award, given to a senior or member of the team that shows outstanding work ethic and attitude on the field. This year's award for the Colonel Hustle Award goes to Alex Warmans. The next award is it's the Hugh Naring Award. Hugh Naring was a player at Ledyard High School back in the mid-'80s. He passed away, and the parents started a fund for both the boys and girls soccer team. Each year, a senior is selected for this award. It's a $75 check that's supposed to be used towards college. And it's given to a player that shows outstanding ability on the field, in the classroom, as well as being well-rounded in the community and involved in the community. So this year's Hugh Naring Award goes to Xander Hutchins. The Coaches Award, given to a player that the coaching staff sees as the type of player that they want to coach. Doesn't necessarily have to be the best player, but the type of person that comes in with the right attitude, the right work ethic, and is a pleasure for the coaches to be around. This year's Coaches Award goes to Fabian May. Our next award, this is the Unsung Hero Award. This award that I am particularly fond of. It's something that I won when I was back in high school. Given to an individual that, again, might not light up the stat sheet, but is asked to do this, asked to do that, and does it without saying boo, and provides the services to the team that they need to win. Again, that might not be scoring 30 goals or having 15 shutouts. They just do their job as the coaching staff needs them to do. This year's award goes to Elliott Smith. The next set of awards, these are already known, but I do have their certificates, so if they want to come up. This year we had 2 individuals named to the first team, All-ACC team for boys soccer. They were Damon Pollard and Nick Washington. ECC honorable mention was Alex Warmus. See? Handshake, normal. ECC Sportsmanship Award winner went to Xander Hutchins, and the ECC, yeah, we're going to give Xander a round. And the ECC Scholar Athlete Award winner went to Wesley Hughes. The last award that we have tonight, and again, this is already known, but this year, Nick Washington was named the Class M All-State team. Well, it was one of only 7 sophomores in the state of Connecticut to be named to the All-State team. So, Nick, congratulations. So, in closing, again, I wanted to, parents, thank you for all your help, whether, again, running the Snack Shack. Our Snack Shack this year was the reason we were able to discount all the players' costs for tonight and covered some extra that was needed. Plus, it helped fund our fundraising account. So things like that, ALS Cup, whether it's just picking something up or just all the little things that go on throughout the course of the season. It was nice to be able to show up at a home game and just be able to focus on the boys and what was going on in the field and not have to worry about all the other little stuff. So again, thank you for all your help. I'm looking forward to next season. I think we've got a great core group of guys that are coming back to the team next year. The seniors that we're losing are certainly going to be tough for us to replace. But younger guys, JV guys that were on the JV team this year, next year is your year. We're graduating a pretty large number of seniors. They're going to have to be replaced. So that's where you guys come in. I would encourage all of you to not wait until August 20th comes around before you get involved with touching a soccer ball. If you can find yourself, doesn't have to be on a select team, doesn't have to be on anything great, but if you can get yourself involved with a team over the wintertime, even if you're playing once a week over at Wide World, get involved with soccer in some way. If you're doing track, if you're doing basketball, if you're doing something, you can still fit some soccer into your life. So if you want to get better and be on the varsity team, be a starting member of the varsity team, you've got to put work in. So I would encourage you to take this challenge now to step up and find yourself a way to get involved with soccer. Again, even if it's just once a week moving forward. But anything you can do will certainly help yourself and help the team next year. I want to win the division next year. I would like to make sure we're still in a semifinal again next year. All these things are certainly lofty tasks, but I think we have what it takes to coming back to do so. So I'll just leave you with that. So that's all I have. I don't know if anybody else wants to come up. No?
Good job.
All right. Well, thank you for coming out tonight. Yeah, there's no cheesecake, there's coffee if you want to help yourself. And again, thank you guys all for coming.